We just have several case studies we're going to look at tonight and talk about what happened in the case, whether or not the right thing was done. The brand aid did they do the correct things to sort of fix the brand? What more could they have done, or how could they have avoided it? Those are really the questions we're asking tonight. So we're going to get into small groups now, and I do have links on the site, but I wanted to give you all a piece of paper. Costa Vida and Twitter is another one. The Mumbai terrorist attacks and the citizen reporting that went into that. Moldova, last week in Moldova, I don't know if you all are familiar, protests and storming of the governmental buildings just from Twitter and Facebook. They used a hashtag, and they got together and tore some up. Motrin Moms, front page of Motrin.com, an advertisement that really upset a bunch of moms, and what the momosphere, the Twitter sphere, did about it. So those are the cases that we're going to look at tonight in small groups, and then we're going to have one person present about the case study that we look at. Okay, so there are six, let me see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 6 little cases. So maybe if you want to come out of, or either choose your leader, and you need to come on up to the front when you speak. And if we could do a different leader than last week, that'd be great. So what I'd love for you to do is tell us the kind of the who, what, where, what was going on with the situation, the parties involved, and then what the problem was and how resolution was found or is still being found with these brands. We started with Skittles before, so let's start with Motrin Moms in the back. I think they have a lot to say. You guys try it. Yeah, and feel free to support your speaker too.
Any way you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the Motrin case study, which, as Gwen was just saying, this was it got a lot of buzz around it because it was kind of the first real faux pas in social media, and people understood the power of moms out in the social media world. So what happened is Motrin had purposely created kind of an edgy online ad about mothers wearing their babies in different ways around front packs, back packs, side packs, and how painful that was. And it was kind of an edgy thing that had been out for about 3 months before this happened. So they put it out, nothing had really happened. About 3 months later, somebody was out, blogged about it, a mommy blogger blogged about it, and that happened on a Friday. By Monday, it had spiraled so out of control that Motrin actually brought their website down. Their website. So that's a little background on what it was. So what we had to do was really talk about, okay, what if we were the advertising agency who had actually done that? And what could we have done to actually address it? So what Motrin did when they brought the site back up is they had a letter from the CEO, or VP of Marketing, apologizing on their homepage, apologizing for this. And they still have a little blurb up there that says, we've learned a lot from our customers in the past. We're working on a path to go forward. Stay tuned. So what we said was, at that particular time, it's growing, but at that particular time, it was about 5% of the population that was actually out in the social media realm. So even though it was huge and it had grown a lot, there was still a lot of people who didn't even know about it. So by placing this on the front page, it actually made people curious, right? And now there's like 250,000 hits on YouTube for this ad because it's kind of created its own life. So what we said we would do is actually kind of, one, you have to put a social media plan in place where you're actually listening. Because if somebody had actually been listening on Friday when it happened, they could have gone out and commented, they could have made the choice to pull the ad down if that's what they wanted to do without having to bring the whole site down. They could have commented out and used it as a way to reach out and talk to the moms that were upset, understand why they were upset, give them free Motrin to help them with their pain, and really turn it into kind of a win for them. But the option of not participating is not something you can do. But then also we were talking about the blurb that they have up there now, to actually turn that into a follow us on Twitter. You know, your comments are always welcome. We learn a lot from our customers. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us wherever you are from a social media perspective. We talked about maybe creating an executive video that you could have put out a little more buried in the website that you could have directed people to, that was a mom within Motrin that could then talk about the true, you know, what this meant to her and what she heard. Anything else that I missed?
I was just thinking that in a broader sense, the lesson you could sort of take out of this is something that every brand needs to consider, but even much more so now with instancy of social media, is that every action you take will have a reaction. And by not considering the reaction on the social media aspect, you're setting yourself up for a disaster like this. So you gotta have a plan in place. So if you do offend somebody, which pretty much anything submitted online has a possibility that it will offend somebody, you got to be ready to deal with the response.
But so another question might be for in this case is whether or not Motrin responded in the right way by pulling the ad. Do a few angry moms warrant pulling the ad? Like, you know, if you know that anything you put out there might offend someone, everything you do will offend someone.
Right.
What's the threshold? You know, is it okay? We have 1,000 people angry about this, or we have 100 people angry about this? So I do think, like, maybe I wonder if more thresholds need to be decided upon before you put the video out there.
Absolutely, and I think pulling the ad itself is a much lesser step that could have been taken as opposed to bringing down the entire website.
Right.
That seems to me like an extreme overreaction. And they had any idea that this could have created some sort of controversy, then you have another ad ready to go or something like that.
There was definitely a celebratory kind of in the momosphere
Yeah.
and on Twitter. It was like, woo, we brought the site down!
Yeah.
So that's something to
I'm willing to predict that if you did a deep enough study, you would find that it's a pharmaceutical company. That's not hard to figure out. And that the head of the pharmaceutical company was either a technician or a financial guy and not a marketing guy, and he went right to his gut, which is protect ourselves instead of being logical.
Right. That's a
Well,
good point.
you know, and there's the whole adage of there's no press that's bad press. So the question is, do you then use this as a way, the firestorm as a way to turn it into something that's good for you? And I think that's the point, is if you've at least thought it through, then you have a plan of action and you can get on top of it and you can maybe turn it into something that's good. We also talked a lot about the fact that it kind of points to why social media has taken off and has become much more effective as a marketing tool than marketing had been in the past, because they probably didn't do a lot of focus groups before they put this out there. And because in marketing you're used to, you kind of got lazy, right? This sounds good, let's go do it. And now you can't do that anymore. If you do, you better be willing to listen and use that as your focus group, right? Because it's still a small enough population that it can be a focus group for you.
So, thank you guys. That was really good.